Hey everyone, welcome to the last of our Kaladesh set review. We're doing the multicolor and the land. Thank you for making it all the way through. These are going to probably be the most powerful ones, and yeah, let's get to it. Okay, I want to introduce my co-hosts, Aaron and Brett. How you going, guys?
Good,
Hey, great
thanks.
to be back.
Yeah, Aaron still hasn't got his webcam working, so just got the cheesy grin Aaron there.
Making a
Um,
return of the shake scheme.
Alright, so multicolor, we got some really cool stuff going on. Let's get into it. First one up is new Mole Drifter. Cloud Blazer. 3 white blue for a human scout 2/2 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and draw 2 cards.
Yeah, I am so picking this card. I was so excited to see this. Obviously, not quite Mold Drifter, requires 2 colors. You don't have the option to just to evoke it for 3 mana. But yeah, Flyer with draw 2, gain 2 tacked on is sweet.
Yeah, no, this is fine.
Fine.
Being a gold card,
Yeah.
well, it's a gold card, so you need to be a little bit careful when you're picking this. And if you will need to take it reasonably early, but you will probably cut it more often than not because you may not end up in blue and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably not powerful enough to be wanting to splash for, but if you're lucky enough to be in these colors, playing this is going to feel so good every time.
Yeah, this is going to be really good. Um, yeah, what more can you say? Draw 2 cards, gain 2 life, and it's a flyer, and flyers are good, so yeah. Next one is Contraband Kingpin. Blue and a black for a 1/4. Aetherborn Rogue with lifelink. So 1/4 with lifelink. And whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you scry 1.
So I really like this card when it came out, because you see blue black, you see this 1/4 body with lifelink, you think this is what blue and black should probably be doing, just sitting back, blocking, staying alive, and getting some incremental value. But having been through black in our previous set reviews, this doesn't look like what black wants to be doing. So I've actually lowered my opinion of this card pretty significantly, having been through the set in full. Like, you don't want to sit back in black. You want to be hitting in and attacking, and that's not what this card does.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I didn't like it. Um, just because I don't like 1/4s for 2 mana. It has some minor upside and it blocks, but I didn't really like it at all. And I've actually come up a bit higher on it, so I've had the opposite thing with Brett, because there are some. I noticed most of the black is quite big and quite aggressive, but I noticed that there were a few that wanted a lot of artifacts hanging around, and blue does have some fabricate and make some thopters, and I don't know. I think it's going to be slow. I think it's going to be really grindy, but I think the blue-black combination is not going to be that aggressive, and this will fit in with that. I still don't think it's that good, but I think it's better than I thought it was at first. I didn't like it at all at first. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I could echo a couple of points there from each of you. As Brett mentioned, black for the most part doesn't lend itself to a slow strategy. They have good quality, low cost creatures that are good at attacking, but also there does appear to be at least the presence of some combo-ish black spells that look like they would synergize nicely with blue. So I feel like quite obviously, if I'm looking to play aggressive black, I'll probably want to pair that with red, maybe with green, or even white if I want to go wide. But if I'm looking to play this blue-black deck, I'm still not picking this highly. It doesn't impact the board. But if there's nothing else in the pack that particularly pulls to me, I think I would enjoy playing this card. It's going to hopefully get me to my late game by keeping me alive with lifelink, as well as scrying. So a couple of advantages there.
Yeah, it's more of a kind of a role play that sort of fits in there. You want to get it pretty late. You don't want to be taking this over any of your removal spells, or your good blue and black creatures. So I don't know. I'm just not that keen on this guy.
Yeah,
And-
just be aware of the different archetypes that are floating around and
Yeah.
where this thing fits in.
Yeah. Alright.
All right. So next up, we welcome our double lord. So this is Depala. She is the pilot exemplar for 1 red-white for a 3/3. So already 3 mana red-white 3/3. Pretty good. She's a legendary creature dwarf pilot. She gives other dwarfs you control +1/+1, and any vehicles that are creatures also get +1/+1.
Sick.
So that's pretty good. But we're not done. Whenever she becomes tapped, for example, when, I don't know, if you were crewing a vehicle, you get to pay X. And if you do, you reveal X cards from your library and take all, that's right, I said all dwarfs and all vehicles from among them and put them into your hand. The rest go on the bottom of your library. So this is just doing everything. It's an aggressive creature on its own. It's pumping up dwarves and pumping up vehicles. It's finding you more dwarves and more vehicles. It's a brilliant card, and I probably pretty comfortably first picking this and trying to push into this red and white deck if I can.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that 100%. This card is excellent. I think there's big potential for this to be in standard, and for there to be an aggressive red-white, vehicles deck getting in there. So, the card's just excellent. Really, really good.
Yeah. Fantastic. Good colors, good flavor. Lords are always good. As you said, yeah, getting all. Similar card, previous set, Munda Ambush Leader. This is so far above and beyond what Munda was, because he put the cards. Did he put them on top of your library? I believe he did.
Yeah.
So,
You're
this
talking
just-
about the ally one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one just puts them in your hand, and yeah, any number of them. Yeah, so good. Love it. And EDH has been needing a multicolored dwarf legend for quite a while.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So is this actually going to be EDH?
Yeah, certainly. It's being a legendary creature, and there have been dwarves before. This is not the first time we've seen dwarves. They are a returning creature type. Plus, you can now also have the dwarf vehicles deck. So,
Sure.
because you've got both halves, that gives you. There's probably not enough dwarves to completely fill out a deck, but adding in the vehicles aspect gives you sort of enough to really bring a full EDH deck together.
Sweet.
Yeah, love it.
Really cool card. Awesome. Okay. Who wants to take care of this one?
Go for it, Brett.
I had the pilot.
Sure. I'll take Dovin Barn. 2 white, blue, the bad guy of the set. 3 loyalty planeswalker. +1 until your next turn. Up to 1 target creature gets -3/-0, and its activated abilities can't be activated. -1, you gain 2 life and draw a card. -7, you get an emblem with your opponents can't untap more than 2 permanents during their untap step. So, the one who started this whole story by going to the Gatewatch and asking for their help, he is the safety supervisor, I believe, of all the inventions that get made on Kaladesh. So he's pretty much law and order and says what can and cannot be on the plane. And yeah.
Which is his first ability that's pretty clearly tied into his flavor. He says, "That thing is not allowed, please stop."
Yep.
Which is nice. But obviously, the big talk about this is, will there be in the blue-white control deck? And this is going to be in that deck if it exists. Unfortunately, it's not dissimilar to Narset. But Narset didn't get a lot of play, and she started with 6 loyalty. So I would probably say this isn't quite going to get there. As sad as that is, and as much as I'd probably like to see a bit of blue-white having its time again, it's been in the penalty box for a long time since Return to Ravnica, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
I mean, at least this does impact the board, which Narset didn't particularly, because Narset, I believe, was just potentially draw a card, which was average, and obviously her rebound ability was quite powerful, but sort of a bit niche as well. Dovin, at the very least, protects himself, and being able to gain some life is nice in control. Drawing a card along with that is even better. 4 mana again is the sweet spot for Planeswalkers. So, yeah, I can't say that I know too much about that, but I guess we'll see if he makes it into the meta.
Yeah, I think there's enough between this and the new Wrath, which I'm maybe a little bit higher on than most people. You get to gain a lot of life, and you get to stabilize. So the problem with 5 mana Wraths is that you're just too low on life by the time you play it, or sometimes you just don't even get there. But Dovin Barn puts the brakes on, and playing a Wrath after that is... I don't know, I just think there might be enough for a blue-white or maybe Esper control deck to get there. And
yeah.
I really like this guy's abilities. His ultimate is, well, pretty oppressive, really. So that should be good. I like that you can just draw cards if there's nothing going on the board to further your advantage. It's kind of what a control walker really looks like. If there's something on the board, you stop it. If you manage to wipe the board, you just draw a card. I really like this card, and maybe I just want there to be a blue-white control deck. Even though I never play blue-white control, I guess I kind of miss it in a way, and I like this kind of walker to be in there. Yeah, there's my ramble.
Yeah, I can't imagine myself sort of ticking towards his ultimate. I'm not particularly interested in that, but the card feels very, very Azorius, very blue-white.
Yeah. All right.
I've heard this compared a few times to like Jace Beleren. Now, it's not quite that good, but just being able to tick down, if you've got reasonable control of the board, just tick down 3 times, gain 6 life, draw 3 cards. It's probably going to be enough.
That's good for 4 mana. It's slow,
Yeah.
but if that's what you're doing with it, yeah. Okay. Now a good color combination. Imperial Voyager, 1 green and blue for a 2/3 Vedelkin Scout with flying and trample. Whenever Imperial Voyager deals combat damage to a player, you get that many energy counters.
Yes. This is cool. This is a really nice card. This is going to enable all of that green energy stuff we've been looking at just recently.
Yeah.
That's 2 energy every time it hits and isn't blocked, and it's flying, so it's probably not going to get blocked that much.
Mm-hmm. And it tramples over the 1/1s, which I guess is something.
Yeah, and obviously counter theme in +1/+1 counter theme in green, so any permanent buff that it gets, really nice synergy with trample. Yeah, good quality creature.
Yeah. I don't think it's too high of a pick because it is gold, but if you're in blue-green, you're definitely happy to grab it.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly reasonable corollary to make with all of these uncommons. They're going to be powerful because they're gold cards, but you pick them up knowing that you may not be playing those colors, or if you're already in those colors is when you want to take them.
Yeah.
Okay. Engineered Might. 3 green-white for a sorcery. At uncommon, choose 1. Target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. Or creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain vigilance until end of turn. Wow, this card's going to end games.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm reasonably okay to have this, but I imagine I probably just want the 4 mana instant +2/+1 for my team most of the time. Which
Okay, fair. I like +5/+5 and trample though. It really
Yeah, it seems okay.
Yep.
I mean, options are good, but I think Inspired Charge is going to do most of what this is doing anyway, and it does it at instant speed.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, single colored as well. Yeah, sort of hard to tell. I'm not going to be going out of my way to pick this card by any stretch, but if it comes my way and there's potential for me to play it, yeah, why not?
Okay, why not? Alright, let's move on to a black-green card. Hazardous Conditions. 2 black-green for a sorcery. Creatures with no counters on them get -2/-2 until end of turn. That's kind of weird. Because creatures with counters are probably dodging this anyway.
Yes, but this is a sorcery speed ability, and the creatures with counters have probably just done a bit of bashing into combat.
Yes.
So this is a neat little trick that you use after combat when everyone's sitting there with a bit of damage on them. You kill off your opponent's creatures because they don't have counters. Hopefully yours do and can then survive. So that's kind of where I see that fitting in. And black and green obviously have a few creatures with counters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, obviously be aware that you've got this card in your deck, so don't be fabricating wide, fabricate up if possible. Yeah, I guess it is situational, but don't ever underestimate the ability to sweep your opponent's creatures, definitely. It's going to be a powerful effect.
Yeah, just bringing this against those white decks that are trying to go wide with all the servo tokens, you're just wrecking their board.
Yeah, and be aware that if you are that deck that you went wide and you get wrecked, in game 2 and 3, don't go wide, go up.
Yes, always learn.
Yep. Okay, this is Brett's favourite card of the set.
Oh god, I'm nodding off. No, it's so boring. This is a fine card, and it's a 3-mana 2/3 Kambal, the Consul of Allocation, who's a pretty interesting dude. He controls all of the Aether here on Kaladesh. Every deal, anything that involves Aether, has to go through him. So yeah, it's got some sweet art. It's got sort of the light and the dark side of him. It's really nice. Unfortunately, it's kind of boring. It does what black-white creatures do, which is whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, that player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So it's just that drain ability. It's going to do a really good job of ending games. Yeah, I'm not really excited to see this.
No, not even for Commander or anything?
Not really. There's so many other effects. Like, as I said, we've seen it all before. It's another one. The interesting aspects of this are possibly this could see play in Modern as an extra hate bear in sort of like Death and Taxes type decks, in the hate bears deck, maybe even in Legacy, because it stops Storm, and it stops a few other Legacy decks from playing lots of non-creature spells. So Miracles again, and in the Legacy matchup, you play this against Miracles, and then they can't really do anything because their whole deck is non-creature spells.
Sure.
But even then, they have to cast 10 spells before it kills them, and I'm sure they can find a way to answer it. I sort of agree. It's cool, but yeah, potentially not useful. I could see it maybe getting undervalued in EDH. People tend to ignore effects that are not Cradle of Behemoth, and it could potentially drain you out a little bit before you sort of realize just how much damage this thing's dealing to you. It's subtle, which I kind of like. It's not overpowering, but yeah, a really nice black-white card. Cool, but I'm not taking this as my first pick either.
Yeah, I don't particularly like this card. It's Auric for me, boring, and vanilla. So let's pass it on.
At least Ulrich killed dudes.
Sure. Whatever, Aaron. All right. Here is
this is a much more interesting legend.
Oh, I love this card. Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter, 2 green blue for a 2/3 elf druid legendary creature. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a non-land card with converted mana cost less than that spell's, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Yeah. If you don't cast the revealed card, put it into your hand. So draw a card or cast it for free. This card is sick. This card is sick. I love this card. This is my favorite card of the set. I love it.
This has I think we have to go first to the commander applications, because this is just custom built to be an amazing commander. It can both pilot its own decks, and it just fits so well into what green and blue wants to do.
Yes, it does.
It's the first spell for each turn, but the 2 colors that are really good at playing in the opponent's turn is green and blue. You play your Vidalcanorias, your Leyline of Anticipations, your Yaeva, Nature's Herald, and you are getting this effect 2 to 3 times per turn cycle. So it's magnificent. It also fits straight into things like Animar. Animar likes to just ramp up bigger and bigger and bigger, and Rajmi lets you do that.
Yeah. Good thing they banned, what is it, Prophet of Graphics?
Okay.
This would be ridiculous. Yeah, this card.
Now, do you play this elsewhere?
I'm playing this.
Probably.
I'm playing this
Yeah.
in constructed, definitely.
Free
Well,
play
that's
What
just
does
me,
that
here.
that's
deck
just
look
me,
like?
but I'm always just playing this. Sorry?
I'm really curious because what does that deck look like? What does the standard sort of deck look like that's got Rajmi in it?
I have no idea, but I'm going to make it happen. Looking for Teema. This is going to push me into
Yep.
Teema, because I want to play Chandra, I want to play Nissa, and I want to play this. So,
Right.
done.
So you're kind of ramping up, you play your Rajmi, and then you play Nissa, revealing Chandra, so you get a free Chandra.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sick to me.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so sweet. I mean, you just pick it in limited. Casting spells for free is, yep, good. Drawing
Sure
cards,
is.
Yeah,
also
or
good.
just drawing, every time you cast a spell, draw a card. That's its worst application. Sure.
Seems
Yeah,
fine.
obviously be aware if you have if a constructed deck would be much more powerful, obviously, because you're picking what's in your deck, and temporary effects like pump spells and fight spells might be a little bit awkward, but I believe, can you opt to just not cast it and instead draw it? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, no, there's not really a downside to this card. Just
No,
pick
it
it, play it, have fun with it.
I will be. Thank you. Let's go. Next one. Restoration Gearsmith. 2 black-white for a 3/3 human artificer. Tick up the counter. When Restoration Gearsmith enters battlefield, return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Gravedigger.
Big Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gravedigger's always good. This is a 3/3 version. We usually would play Gravedigger as a 2/2. Obviously, being white, it makes it a little bit more difficult to play. But you can get artifacts or creatures. Yeah, I think you play this whenever you can.
Yeah. I love this sort of card so much. I would consider splashing this card, and that's going way over the top, I know, but
Yeah.
I love this kind of ability. Because you want your splash cards to be good in the late game. You don't want it to be a 2-drop or a 3-drop. You want it to be really effective in the late game after you've played out your hand and you've definitely got the mana that you need. And playing this on turn 7 or 8, getting your bomb back, and then recasting it is just amazing. I really like these cards.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and like it's a real body. Usually by turn 4, turn 5, the 2/2 for Gravedigger isn't quite enough, but this is a 3/3. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. This is something I would probably splash for if I'm in one of those colors.
Artifice account.
25.
25.
All right, we got a big one. Aaron, you want to read us through this one?
Sure. Why not? Alright, so we have here our second Izzet Commander. So 3 mana for blue, red, and one of any other. Saheeli Rai. Or Saheeli Rai, perhaps.
Right.
She comes in with 3 loyalty. +1 is Scry 1, that deals 1 damage to each opponent, so your 2 HG friend. And her -2 is create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. That token gains haste, exiled at the beginning of the next end step. And then her -7, her ultimate ability, search your library for up to 3 artifact cards with different names and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this card's had a little bit of hype, not quite as much as Chandra, I would imagine. She does have to compete with who's the other blue-red Planeswalker?
The greatest thief in the
We have
multiverse.
the greatest thief in the multiverse, which is Daxus, and you also have Ralzaric.
Okay, so there is 3 total, but unfortunately for Ralzaric, he is 1 mana behind the other 2 and lots money. She's cool. I've seen an article already showcasing an infinite combo with her. Using, was it
Deck, right?
use the Quicksilver, something Quicksilver that turns her into an artifact, and she can actually just copy herself an infinite number of times, and then Altar of the Brood mills them out
All right, yep.
from ETB triggers. So that's pretty funny, but yeah, I can't imagine that she's that crazy in standard at my first glance. That's my impression.
Yeah, I don't think she's that great in standard. People have been talking about the Fevered Visions and what was the other one? Thermo Alchemist burn decks. So she might fit in there. I don't know too much about those decks. I haven't been paying that much attention to standard lately.
But
But
Scry 1 Deal 1 is so underwhelming. It doesn't even really seem like it lends that well to her strategy.
yeah,
Like,
I don't know. People seem
if I
to
want to be
be
copying
high
something
on
with
that.
this, if I'm copying something, her +1 is just there so that I can neg 2 a second time. Like, I want to be hitting Gear Hulks, I want to be hitting Worm Coil Engines, I want to be making big creatures and smashing my opponents with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be great in standard. I think it might have a niche spot in that deck. I think it actually just gets a lot better the further you go back, because artifacts are just more broken the further back you go. And I assume you're just ramping up to that last ability to get 3 artifacts and just win the game on the spot.
Well, if you're doing that might be something you might want to try to do in Commander, but if you're talking sort of Legacy or Vintage shop decks, you're probably just neg-2ing and copying some of the sweet artifacts you have in play. I mean, it's a little bit Magic Christmas Land, but you can copy Black Lotus. And now you have 2 Black Lotus and you've got a whole bunch of mana very quickly. So, just the sort of silly things you might be able to do. The problem is, of course, you're now competing with Dak Faden, and stealing your opponent's mocks is better than copying your own. So
Yeah, she's got some cute abilities, but yeah, I'm not hedging my bets on this one at all.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. But I don't play those old formats. Is it Commander? Is there a thing?
I think you'd put this in a Commander deck just because copying some artifacts can be really good. Some sweet things like your Worm Coil Engines and that sort of stuff that you can copy when it gets sacrificed. Oh, it's exiled, so you probably want to find a way to sacrifice it some time as well, and you get the 2 worm tokens. So she has some things she can do.
If there's at all sort of like a blue-red crazy experiment deck that involves like Madcap Experiment or the Blue Gear Hulk, and just a combination of like burn and big dudes ramping them out and gear hulking your opponent to death, maybe there's something there, but that's sort of me stretching to find the best possible scenario for her.
Yeah, you're really stretching. Okay, let's move along. This card I like quite a bit. Unlicensed Disintegration, 1 black and red for an instant, destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. Pretty sweet.
My question is, what kind of disintegration is actually licensed on Kaladesh? It's like, who's doing the licensed disintegration? Doesn't seem safe at all.
Yeah. Looks like they are trying to get some licensed disintegration on Chandra, I think, in the Deadlock Trap.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is by the Renegades. Maybe they're the one doing this disintegration.
Well, I think it's a sweet card, and this could very well be a first pick if there's not a really obvious other first pick, because it just destroys a creature. This is something you would probably splash for, because it does just kill something, and the rest of the text on it, like after destroy target creature, full stop, you don't really need anything else, but you get a little bonus if you happen to have an artifact.
Yeah. I can see it ending games by going to the face as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you just take destroy spells if you can get them.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Pick it early, pick it off.
This is also going to be a player in standard. I would expect the red and black deck. You could see some aggressive decks coming out, and this is just getting blockers out of the way, and also possibly dealing a bit of extra damage in those sort of aggressive decks.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, makes
even
sense.
In control decks, it is just kill a creature at instant speed, so it could see play there as well. Doesn't hit planeswalkers, but yeah.
Well, it kind of does if you have an artifact. You can't kill a planeswalker with it, but you can redirect that 3 damage.
Yep.
And the fact that it's red and black is actually easier sometimes. If you're playing a 3-color deck or a 2-color deck, Murder could be harder for you to actually cast because you need double black. But having black and red in play is usually a bit easier.
Yeah, good point. All right.
All right,
Last
so now we
pilot, I
have
think.
our last pilot. Yeah, this is the veteran motorist. He's a red and a white, so he's sort of our red-white uncommon to build around for the vehicles deck. When he enters the battlefield, you get to scry 2. And whenever he crews a vehicle, that vehicle gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So he makes even bigger trains. So good game. He's also a 3/1 on his standard sort of setup, which is not particularly interesting. Those stats you would probably expect to get on just a regular like 1 and a white, so not a gold card. You're really playing this for the rest of the information on it.
Yeah, Scry 2 is good, and he sort of builds on the train as he's, piloting it. So I guess that's cool.
Yes, Scry is an interesting effect to get for these colors, but yeah, I'm never going to complain about having this. And again, we've sort of been echoing on it. If there's going to be a red-white vehicles deck that's explosive and looking to finish your opponent with huge hasting artifacts, then scrying on a creature that you would potentially play anyway is, I guess, really neat.
Yeah, it gets buffed by Depala as well, so yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's good
just go
stuff.
into that deck. Yeah. Oh, I really like this card. I forgot about this card. Voltaic Brawler, red and a green for a human warrior. It's a 3/2, so really good stats for a 2-drop. And when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and when it attacks, you may pay 1 energy. If you do, it gets a +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. So attacking for 4 on turn 3, that's pretty brutal. And you get to do it twice.
Yeah, this is very good. Yeah, this is another one of those, because it's only 2 mana, this you only play in a very much red and green deck, because you want to get this down on turn 2. If you can't play it on turn 2, you're pretty disappointed.
Yeah, an example of a card that you don't really want to splash. No, well, you don't want to splash at all. But this is a really powerful card. If you're in red-green and you pick this up, you probably want to pick this up about 5th or 6th, and then you know it's open, the color combination.
Yeah.
Well, this is the card you really look for in pack 2 and pack 3. You'll first pick this in pack 2 if you're red and green.
Yeah. I think that's true for most of them, though. But yeah. This card is really sweet.
Definitely put down a beating.
Alright, and we made it. This is the very last card. Is a Whirler Virtuoso, and we're finishing on the best creature type in the set. It's an Artificer, so that's 26. And just a bit of maths for you before we get on to the card. That is 10% of all the cards in the set are Artificers. Not creatures, all cards in the set. So those goggles are doing some work. So this guy, he is a 3 mana, so 1 blue, red, 2/3. When he enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. And you can spend 3 energy to make a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. So he's kind of like a 3/4 across 2 bodies if you wanted to just spend that energy straight away. Or you can use the energy elsewhere to do some other good things. We've seen plenty of things in red, particularly, and a little bit in blue, that energy can be spent on. So pretty much for all of these uncommons, we've said the same kind of thing. You play it in those colors. You don't really want to splash for this guy, but you're pretty happy to pick him up if you're in red and blue.
Yeah, this is actually a really good card. Again, in red and blue, just the stats alone and getting a 1/1 Thopter is just really sweet. Interesting that they did it for 3. A 1/1 Thopter is worth 3 energy counters, whereas the other buffs and stuff are only worth 2 on other cards. Just interesting how they figured out the numbers there.
Yeah, well, I
It seems
suppose
there's a lot of different creatures that are adding 2 energy, and a lot of different places where you are just getting that 2 energy. So they may have found it was too easy to just start pumping out Thopters if you had a lot of ways to get 2 energy.
Yeah, that's possibly true. Yeah.
Yeah, but sweet card, and if you've got energy coming in from other places, then this is a pretty good place to be sinking it.
Yep. All right,
Cool.
and that was our last multicolor card, and we're just going to quickly run through the lands. I think there's just 1 cycle and 1 other card. So, well, Aether Hub. When it enters the battlefield, you get an energy. You can tap, add 1 mana to your mana pool, a colorless mana, or tap and pay an energy to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So uses energy to fix. This could be good with the spare energy.
Yeah, if you really need fixing, then you might take this. And possibly if you really need energy, you might just take this to have an extra little energy sneak in there on your land. If you're not splashing, you could play this as a colorless land.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, really.
Yeah. Alright, so this is part of the rare cycle, Blooming Marsh. It's the green-black version, obviously. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. So this is the fast land cycle that's being completed. These are the enemy ones, so they're fine for limited, but these are really important in constructed. You know, aggro decks to work.
Yeah, so I mean, firstly, the art on all 5 of them is beautiful, and we'll slowly scroll through as we're talking, I guess. But the art is all magnificent. I'm looking forward to getting the black-white one in foil for my commander deck there. But these things have incredible implications across the board. They're going to enable the aggro decks, in particular in standard, your red and white. So we've got the red and white enemy sort of color there. And also in modern, things like your Death Shadow decks and the Zoo decks, all that sort of stuff, that they really want to have the right colors, but they're playing 3 colors early, so that they kind of play these sort of effects.
Yeah. Also with the red-white burn decks, they would play 4 copies of just the red-white one of this, won't they?
Most likely, you would think, yeah, the Inspiring Vantage, which is the red-white one, is worth having.
Alright. I'm not sure if there's another cycle. There's the blue-green one, which I quite like. I'll probably try and get a foil one of them as well. That's my commander colours. Aaron, you got anything to add on these lands?
Just admiring the art.
Cool. Okay, here it is. This is Brett's one. Concealed Courtyard. Nice. Inspiring Vantage, red white. Not as cool.
I like the art on that one. That's really nice.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Inventor's Fair. Okay, legendary land. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, you gain 1 life. That's pretty cool. It taps to add 1 mana to your mana pool, or a colorless, and you pay 4 and tap it. Sacrifice the Inventor's Fair. Search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. You can only activate it if you control 3 or more artifacts. So have Metalcraft, pretty much.
Yeah. So I think I remember talking a bit about my Khan EDH deck way back when we were in the artifact section, and this is a sweet little tool for that deck. Another nice colorless land, gaining incidental life, and then just going to get the best artifact that you want, like Dark Seal Forge, for example. Turn all my artifacts indestructible. Put that in your hand at end step. So, yeah, awesome little card. Very happy to see this.
Yeah.
Don't be going too crazy picking this in limited, but yeah, if it comes your way, it's going to be pretty close. It's not obviously not Diabolic Tutor, but a lot of your finishes are going to be artifacts in most of your games. So if you're lucky enough to have this wheel and it's about right time for you to pick it, then snag it and be happy about it.
Nice.
Go get them trains.
Go get those trains.
Another uncommon land, Sequestered Stash. Add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, and 4 sacrifice the stash. Put the top 5 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you can put an artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. So, I don't know, getting some value out of useless lands at the end of the game could be good.
Yeah, if you just happen to have it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't have to get back, I believe, an artifact that you mill with it. You can get back one that was already previously placed there.
Correct.
Yeah, it just gets really awkward if you use this, activate it, and you turn over a Eldrazi Titan, one of the original ones, because it triggers and shuffles everything away.
Can you separate the 2 parts of this effect, or would the Eldrazi effect go on the stack and complete after you've chosen a card?
Good point, yeah, if I think through that. Yeah, this ability would probably have to finish resolving before the trigger ability of the Eldrazi happens, so maybe it'll be alright.
All good.
Setting up
Yep.
for the mill for
Been
my red
judged.
deer Hulk.
Okay, yeah, there's the red-blue one. That's kind of
that is it.
And that's it. We're done. We made it. Woo!
Yeah,
All right.
got there.
I want to say big thanks to Brett and Aaron. You stuck it out, and we did it. This was our first one,
Yo.
and hopefully there's more to come.
You're
What do you
welcome.
think?
Thanks for having us along.
Of course.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been great. And so for everyone out there, just this is our first attempt. So please do let us know what you think. Any feedback you have will be really useful in helping us in our future endeavors in doing this. So let us know in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, share, let everyone know what's going on, and so we can get as much information back as possible.
Yeah. I know that we need to get Aaron a new webcam, but we're working on that.
Probably better off just having my picture.
We'll be back next time, bigger and better than ever.
We will.
Sweet.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you next time. Good luck at your pre-releases.
All right. Bye.
Take